14, which is where we broke off to go back. And this is the governing body assurance framework. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So we have our governing body assurance framework for July, and as we can see, we have 16 live risks. Each of those risks have had additional columns added, which we've spoken about previously. And to remind members, they are the tolerate and treat categories that we've now added to each of our risks. Having said that, we are, as a risk forum next week, going to be reviewing each of those risks and the category of tolerate or treat, because it may well be that where we have got tolerate as a description of some risks, it may well need to change to treat. So there is further work that we have agreed to undertake as a risk forum. All of the current 16 risks have been updated in the last 4 weeks by each director, and you can see in the far right-hand column the updated actions pertaining to each of those risks. I think a lot of the risks that we have mentioned on our GBAF have been covered this morning through our discussions, predominantly through the integrated performance report. But just to add a couple of additions in the context of Brexit, which was previously part of our GBAF, that's now currently on the corporate risk register. But I think as we loom and head towards the end of December, the Brexit risk will now be added back to our GBAF, probably from next month. In addition to our GBAF, we have a departmental risk top priority, which is appended. And as you can see, that we have identified amongst each of our directorates our top 7 local risks that we continue to manage. These are in addition to around 30 additional local risks that each director will manage with their respective teams. From next month, in addition to the Brexit risk change, we are going to be also adding the Sizewell C risk to the corporate risk register to reflect the early discussions we had with regards to the project. But I'm going to pause there and invite director colleagues to add anything they may wish regarding their current risks. So do directors have any additional comments to add that hasn't been already contained within the register, please?
No.
Lots of noise.
I don't have anything additional to add, but happy to take any questions on it.
Thank you, Chair. Do we have any questions regarding any of the risks?
Any other questions? Okay, still with you, Amanda, then. We're going on to the governance and corporate business section. Item 15, the freedom of information request.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed, Chair. So this is our regular report that takes us up to the end of June 2020. And since the last quarter of 1920 and the first quarter of this year, we've seen a steady rise of late in terms of the number of requests that we've received. But I think in the early days of COVID-19, the rise has actually reduced. Appendix 1 does provide a breakdown, and as we can see, the kinds of themes that we are requesting information on is very similar to what we've experienced pre-COVID, notably clinical types of information, commissioning arrangements, HR, primary care and the like. So the breakdown is within Appendix 1, but I think it's fair to say that the types of information that members of the public are requesting is really no different to what we've previously seen. So it's very much the norm. During the last few weeks, and particularly in June, we have seen a steady increase again. So I think that's as a result of perhaps our recovery programme. In terms of Appendix 2, I've just attached that really for information, and that is information that we've recently received from the ICO. And I think that's been helpful advice to all organisations, including our own, in terms of how we respond to FOIs, particularly in the pandemic. But having said that, I'm pleased to report that we still are able to respond to any request within the 20 working day timeframe, which I think is very good news indeed. But I leave it there, Chair, but very happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Thank you. Jeff, you usually lead us on the minutes of the meetings of the various committees, most of which you sit and some of which you chair.
Thank you, Chair. We've got a number of minutes attached to the agenda today, quite a few from the CRAC committee and the Commissioning Governance Committee, much of we've all discussed, I think, already. But taking them all together, the Audit Committee certainly that approved the accounts and annual report and the internal audit annual report. Again, that's been covered earlier in the agenda. And I think I would just ask the committee to endorse those minutes that's presented to them, and note there are some unconfirmed minutes that individual committees will consider in due course. And I guess if there's any comments from any of the chairs they want to make, then I'd invite them to do so. But otherwise, I think we just ask the committee to endorse the minutes, please. Thank you.
Indeed so. Are you happy to do that, everybody? Thank you very much. No questions? Okay. Right. In which case we get to item 17, the date and time of the next meeting, which is at 9:15 on Wednesday, the 23rd of September, and I can't imagine that it will be in any other format than this one. So I think we can safely say that we shall be together again on that date, at that time, and in this format. Thank you very much. I have received no questions from members of the public, so therefore we close this meeting at that point and move over to the part 2. Joe, is the scheduled time